and who are the losers?
Scams, schemes, or the American dream? Next, here on KNSD.
KNSD. Jeopardy will not be seen this evening. Tonight's episode will be seen tomorrow at this time, and the concluding episode of the teen tournament will be seen on Monday at 6:30.
How would you like to create your life exactly the way you want it?
I've lost all my money, basically.
Are we really free? Can we go where we want, do what we want?
Charisma just drips from these people.
Multi-level mania. More and more San Diegans are buying into being their own bosses, but at what price?
They don't see the risk that it entails.
We provide the training, we provide the support, we provide the business opportunity, and what they do with it then is up to them.
Is direct selling the career of the future, or the same tune we've all heard before?
Avon calling.
Tonight on Third Thursday, multi-level marketing, scams, schemes, or the American dream.
And good evening. We've got an overflow audience here to find out about multi-level marketing, the dreams and the realities behind being your own boss and making big money. You meet those who have made six-figure incomes, others who have lost it all. Are multi-level marketing companies legitimate? Or are they just out to take your money? We'll try to answer these questions and yours tonight on Third Thursday. And good evening. We're in Spring Valley tonight at La Presa Middle School, and we did not anticipate the response that we would have when we talked about doing this program on companies that are known as multi-level marketing companies, though many choose to stay away from that label. Some of them have been with us for decades. Amway and Shackley would be an example. Others, it seems, come and go, and by some estimates, 20% of all of the products sold by all of these companies are sold here in the state of California. So if you do not work with one of these companies, you may buy products from one of these companies. You may have been tempted. You may have had the sense that the future was yours to design, yours to conquer, and that the funds that you could earn, be your own boss, might be unlimited. We've got a lot of people tonight that can help us answer those questions, but it has been a remarkable experience watching the phone calls come in for people wanting tickets. Now, when you see our panel, and Gene will take a picture of our panel now, you will see 4 people sitting there. The reason is that virtually every company in the United States involved in multi-level marketing and their association that we contacted about doing the program chose not to come. They include New Skin, which sent us a fax at 11 o'clock this morning saying they would not come. The Direct Sales Association, which represents a variety of these companies and also some that do not have any levels involved in sales. Tupperware might be an example. They were going to come. They decided not to come. Mary Kay's not coming. Amway's not coming. Tupperware I mentioned. Shackley's not coming. Herbalife is not coming. They did not want to be involved in the program. And we will also try and sort out some of the reasons over the next hour and a half of why that might be. We have some theories, and we hope that you do too. Let me give you the telephone number. It's 570-1339 if you'd like to join us with a question. 570-1339. For those folks at home just joining us, how many of you are involved with these companies? How many of you have decided this is your financial future? And how many of you are fairly certain in that dream that it's going to be a big-time financial future? Could you stand up for a second? Sure. What's the company?
New Skin.
Okay. And how long?
I have been in almost a year and a half.
Okay. And is it paying the kinds of financial rewards that you thought you'd get?
For the time that I have spent selling and for the time that I have been involved, yes, I feel it is very worthwhile.
One of the interesting things in doing the research for the program that New Skin estimates that they're going to make $500 million this year. But they also said they've got 100,000 people selling. So if you divide that down, that means $400 a month would be the average payback on this year's sales. Is it a part-time job for you?
Yes, it is. I enjoy doing it because it gave me an outlet. I could meet people, enjoy talking to people, It really is delightful.
And you call your own hours and all of that?
Of course. That's
What-
the best part.
What pressures do you feel to sell the product versus recruiting other people to sell the product?
Well, I enjoy selling the product because I think it's one of the finest products that I have ever been involved with. I have sold for 2 other multi-level marketing companies, and I know this is the finest product.
So you've done this before, you've just changed companies.
Yes, that's right.
Did you take a downline with you?
No, I did not.
Tell us what a downline is.
A downline is someone that you sign up, and they become people who will sell for their own benefit. They hopefully will make the money that they would like to make, but primarily they would want to sell product that would be beneficial to other people.
And then you get some of the commission from their sales like you were a sales manager.
Yes, of course.
Well, thank you very much. Amway and Shackley. Amway and Shackley are 2 of the companies that have been around as long as most of us can remember, and they do attract people to the companies based on reputation alone. But there are lots and lots of companies coming into the marketplace or trying to come into the marketplace. So how do you know what to look for? How do you know what to look out for about business opportunities? And what we did was choose a business opportunity ad from the newspaper at random, and here's the story.
The lure of financial independence and being your own boss can lead many people to classified ads. We found this one in the self-employment opportunities section of the San Diego Union. It touted an explosion taking place in network marketing. A member of our staff called and was asked to attend a meeting that night in a Mission Valley hotel. Here's what we recorded with a hidden microphone.
For $20, you give me a business for yourself. You don't have to go rent an office front. You don't have to do anything. I mean, it's phenomenal.
What is it that has distributor Jimmy Rogers so excited? It is called Omnitrition, a series of vitamin supplements Rogers says will help buyers shed pounds and help sellers fatten their wallets.
Anything you do from now on is a tax deduction. You go have a meal with someone, share a pack of Wow with the waitress, you got a tax write-off.
A tax write-off? That piqued our interest. After the meeting, we confronted Jimmy Rogers with our questions.
You said if we give away a bar on the airplane, we can deduct a trip.
Well, that's something that a person should check with their tax accountant to really fully inform them on it.
But you didn't tell us in the group when you gave that in the demonstration.
Are you a tax attorney?
No, but we are going to find one.
And we did. We played the Omnitrition meeting tape for certified public accountant Bob Gelman.
There is no business purpose, no direct connection there, so I think the IRS would laugh at you and bounce it out.
Equally questionable were medical miracles cited as resulting from the use of Omnitrition products.
You stressed you didn't make medical claims, but you told us in at least 3 instances of people who realized medical benefits from taking these products. You told us your friend Biff's brain seizure stopped.
Yeah, but I also said it wasn't that he stopped taking his drugs that the doctor had recommended, and that I never said that it was due to these formulations. I said that he was taking them and his seizures dropped to 2 a day.
I think it's totally irresponsible to put out such a product, because under those circumstances, what you really want is care of a neurologist or a physician who is competent to deal with those problems.
UCSD nutrition specialist Dr. Paul Saltman found fault with other claims made during the Omnitrition meeting.
It will build muscle, it'll firm and tone muscle while you're asleep.
What tones muscle is, in point of fact, physical exercise. And I don't do much of that when I'm sleeping, except occasional twitchings in the delirium of some sort of nightmare about these kinds of products.
But behind the whimsy is a serious warning.
I am concerned of this preparation because it is a megadose preparation. It does contain large amounts of vitamins, far in excess of what the U.S. recommended daily allowances are. And I think in that sense, it has some potential for harm.
You wouldn't think so if you listen to who Jimmy Rogers claims endorses Omnitrition products.
It is endorsed by the American Heart Association. It's endorsed by the American Diabetic Association, the Cystic Fibrosis Association. It's the only bar that the U.S. Navy and Agriculture, the Department of Agriculture, tested, and they did a mountain climb to Mount Everest. It was the only food that they took with them. It passed all tests.
But the Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, and the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation say they do not endorse any product. The Department of Agriculture told us they don't test foods. And as for the Navy taking any Omnitrition product to Mount Everest with them, they issued this statement, and we quote, "The Navy is not aware of any expeditions to Mount Everest or anywhere else by Navy personnel to test, evaluate, or otherwise endorse any type of food bar."
Okay, we are back live. If you'd be kind enough to stand up, sir. This is Tony Duke, who has been kind enough to join us, flying in from Texas, and you're a vice president with Omnitrition.
That is correct.
What is your response to what took place at the meeting?
Well, astonishing, to say the least. Those are claims and statements that are totally inconsistent with who and what we are. We believe we are, and we work very hard to be, and we are committed to be, a very responsible company, a very ethical company, and I can speak for that because I am also the ethics enforcement and ethics compliance and enforcement officer.
Isn't it part of the problem really inherent in companies with large sales forces who are essentially working for themselves, whether they're called consultants or directors or whatever the title happens to be? You've got a far-ranging network. New Skin, as an example, would have 100,000 people out there. It should not be surprising that some would say things that you wouldn't like.
Well, certainly it shouldn't be surprising, but nonetheless, our distributors are required to abide by our Code of Professional Ethics and our rules and regulations, which make it very clear there are to be no medical claims, there are to be no claims of any sort whatsoever about the product or any of our associations with such some that were mentioned by our distributor.
What's going to happen as a result of that? I mean, he made the claims.
Well, this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to see this information. We have been investigating the matter. We will, of course, investigate it further, and we will be taking the matter up very seriously with our distributor.
Because the Heart Association wanted to send their attorneys down here. They're that rigorous about not becoming involved in any product identification.
I can certainly appreciate and understand that. We have never, ever made any insinuation that we are endorsed by any association whatsoever.
Well, we thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate it. Please meet on... Please meet on the panel Al Sheldon from the Attorney General's office here in San Diego. Mr. Sheldon has been involved over a number of years in consumer issues and with a variety of companies that fall into the scheme-scam category, and I guess some that fit into the American Dream category as well. What about this issue of claims being made by salespeople and representatives of these companies?
Well, we find that companies always say that that's not what our distributors are supposed to say. Where we've run into problems is where distributors up and down the state say the same thing which the company claims distributors aren't supposed to say. When companies don't police their distributors properly, when they don't kick out distributors who are making claims that go beyond what is legal, then problems develop. And it's usually those kinds of claims that bring in the greatest number of distributors. So those are the kinds of claims that we're most concerned about. The phony income representations, the phony claims regarding what the product will do. There sometimes is a fine line between a medical claim and a testimonial. But we take the position, the Department of Health takes the position, that if they're saying, gee, I used to take 14 pills a day for my heart troubles, I started taking X, and now I don't take my pills anymore, that's going to be a medical claim, and that the product better have U.S. Federal Food and Drug Administration approval or State of California Health Department approval before they make those kinds of claims.
But many of the companies that sell those products, those taken internally, they're marketed in essence as a food supplement, are they not, which moves them around the question of the Food and Drug Administration, even though the word food is there.
It depends what claims they make. If they make drug-type claims, you can turn a food into a drug. So that, yes, and that's one of the problems that we have in prosecuting these cases. Oftentimes the company literature is directly on point and tracks the law directly, but what the representatives say in the sales meetings are what takes it over the pale.
Okay. Please meet Jeff Babner, who is an attorney whose firm represents a number of multi-level marketing companies. As an attorney who may go into court to represent Omnitrition or any one of the companies, what do you hear when you hear statements like these?
Well, I think Al is totally correct, and we've worked with his office for years. And generally a responsible company, when these matters are brought to their attention, they'll do something about it. They'll take discipline, they'll terminate the distributor, and these companies have methods of doing their best to control distributors through training, through videotape, through materials that are passed out to distributors, but what you saw there was really inconsistent with what any responsible company would say to the public.
Does the lawyer flag, oh no, we may be liable, go up when you hear medical claims and then perhaps the potential of somebody taking a product like this that they then may be allergic to, that they then may have some adverse reaction to?
Well, first of all, I think that almost all of the products that you see that are food supplements out there, if there was a danger to them as a general matter, they wouldn't be allowed to be marketed. And the medical claims issue is a real problem, particularly if they steer somebody away from proper medical treatment. But you can go to any health food store in the country, any supermarket in the country, and find the sort of nutritional products that these companies are selling. They merely claim proprietary formulation.
Okay. Well, one of the main attractions of the multi-level companies is the potential for income. We talked about it with this woman when we started the program. How about it? How about the money? Is this the American dream? Can you go in and sell? If you can sell, can you make the kinds of money that the companies talk about? Is it the freedom that I guess almost everybody in this country would like to have? Go where you want, do what you want, as long as it's moral and legal any time that you want. Let's talk about that right after this. We are back. I said at the beginning of the broadcast, and I promise I'll stick to my promise. We'll start taking questions and comments from the audience, and we'll talk about the promises of financial freedom that have lured so many people to this system of marketing. That most of the companies that we contacted either initially said no or said yes and then pulled out on us at the very last minute. I asked before, no Mary Kay people here, huh? Is there a Mary Kay person here? No, okay. The reason is that Mary Kay sent a letter to each and every one of the company's consultants is the term that they use, consultants and directors here in San Diego, saying, we're not going to be on the program, we don't want you to be on the program, we don't want you to talk to KNSD. Immediately, 10 or 12 of their consultants called KNSD. I'm going to get over here so I can see without my glasses what the screen says. This is the letter that Mary Kay sent out. It said, we urge you to decline. Please refer the caller to Mary Kay's Legal or Public Relations Department. I had a long talk with their Public Relations Department about it all yesterday after we got the letter. Next page, please, Gene. Okay, so they sent the letter out to all the consultants, and 10 or 12 of them sent us the letter and called and said, either we resent it, we've got something to say, we don't understand why they won't come, and the letter was accompanied by a 2-page note explaining front and back why Mary Kay considered itself not to be a multi-level marketing company. They see themselves as a direct sales company. On the phone now, and forgive us for distorting the audio, but she still works for the company and I guess likes working for the company, but felt that she had something to say. We can call you Susie for purposes. What was your response to the letter when you got it?
My immediate response was the fact that I was insulted by, had my intelligence insulted by being told not to participate in the first place. And in the second place, they can continually claim not to be a multi-level company. And I totally disagree with that. They are multi-level. Their wording in their don't call us multi-level mailing, part of the mailing, says that they don't have multiple levels of people. But what they do have is multiple levels of percentages that you can make. The more recruits you have, the more piece of the action you're going to get.
Can you make money if you don't recruit? Can you make money purely on sales?
Absolutely not. There is no way anybody could make a living in San Diego County with our cost of living prices by just selling Mary Kay cosmetics. What's really upsetting about the whole situation is that where the company makes their money is the initial sales. When you recruit somebody, the first thing they do is try to push you over the edge and get you to put in those big inventory orders. there's all sorts of bonus plans available from the company where you can, get all sorts of goodies. The more money you buy in inventory, the more goodies you get.
Okay, Susie,
and the
thank
bigger
you.
piece that your director or whoever recruited gets.
Okay, thank you very much. And needless to say, in trying to disguise her voice, it gets a little hard to understand. I talked to a number of people with Mary Kay. They gave me their registration numbers with the company. Basically the same story. I have to recruit. I can't make it just on sales. What I do is get together with my girlfriends, and whatever my quarterly amount I need to get at wholesale is, that's what we spend. We divide it up. It's terrific product, but this way I get it wholesale instead of going to Macy's and buying something, or Nordstrom or wherever, and paying retail. We would like to add that Mary Kay is listening now in Dallas. They having the program taped and sent to them, and they've got an open phone line, so they heard the conversation, and I'll extend to them the invitation again to please give us a call at 619-570-1339, and we would be delighted to hear from you. Let's meet now Ira Kolb, who's a professor of marketing at USC and at UCLA up in Los Angeles, was kind enough to drive down. Marketing is your expertise. Would you comment a little bit on this style of marketing and selling a product?
Well,
versus traditional distributor, wholesale, retail store?
Well, traditional distributors, there's room for two levels of distribution. You have a wholesaler and a retailer. And in order for each person in the distribution channel to make money, you really can't survive with more than two levels. And that's the traditional way in most marketplaces.
And I guess the sense is, and please, somebody here from one of you can respond to this as well, because there's nobody up here that sells. There's nobody up here making a living from this. If I want cosmetics, there may be, 20 stores in town, maybe 30 stores in town. And let's say I want Annie's Cosmetics. And now that's at 20 of the stores, so I can choose because maybe I like the salesperson at one of the stores or the price is right. But I've only got 20 choices. With some of the products that you sell, I may have 20 people in my neighborhood selling the product. What about that competition? What about that sense of the market being saturated? I'm going to have to come around to you. Hang on. Well, let me make a short stop right here. Go ahead. Stand up, sir.
If you're involved with the network marketing company that has nationwide distribution, you can expand your marketing base nationwide, and a few of the companies have a worldwide base to choose from.
Well, let's say I want to live here, and let's say I want to live in Scripps Ranch. So I quit my job at the television station and I moved to Scripps Ranch, and I invest $50 maybe to start with company Q, and I put in $500 to get enough inventory to go and sell my product and show my product and demonstrate my product, and I find out, but there are already 5 or 6 or 7 people in Scripps Ranch just in my area that are doing it. What if I don't want to move to London or Bombay or any number of places?
Well, first of all, you don't need an inventory at all.
You got to show them something.
Catalogs, catalog business is multi-billion-dollar business. So you can sell everything out of catalogs, number one. Number two, our company,
which is your company,
Amway, now has a UPS service where you could sign up customers and they can have the merchandise shipped directly to their door by UPS. So you can have a customer in every state of the union, family, friends, acquaintances, wherever they live, buy products through a catalog and have it shipped directly to the door. And you never perhaps even get to show them the catalog, except maybe mail it to them.
But to make a lot of money, don't I have to have lots of families, friends, and acquaintances? I mean, I've got to have a pretty good... In other words, if we take the city of San Diego, we take 2 million people, and we say that 500,000 of them want cosmetics, and there are 20 stores to get it, so whatever, 100,000 people per store and whatnot, those counters can compete and do some pretty good business. But if the market is more saturated than that, I mean, do I have a problem making a good living?
Well, what constitutes a good living is different for everybody. But you have, like I said, again, you can sponsor people who have friends and sponsor people who have friends, and that's the way it works. And again, that can go worldwide. There are people who have businesses that go around the world.
I'm going to work my way over to the woman who put her hand up. Go ahead, if you're on the telephone, please join us.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Warm, to tell you the truth.
Are you?
I'm running around in a coat. I may take it off in a minute, except I haven't been good about my diet products lately. Go ahead.
Well, my name's Brett, and I have a very successful Amway business that I've had for 7 years. I'm 32 years old now, and I'm basically financially independent. I work about 20 hours a week, and it's very phenomenal as far as my lifestyle. I thought I'd give you a call and see if you might want to ask some questions about the Amway business through a successful distributor.
You know, fortunately we have some people here that probably meet that, only because at the moment it's hard to pin that down. If you'll stay with us, though,
sure,
we'll see about getting back to it. I appreciate your telephone call. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm an executive with Nu Skin International, and to address that question, what network marketing really is, it's not about going out and getting hundreds of retail customers.
Let me turn you towards the camera so they can see in part the benefit of the products.
Right. Thank you very much. I'll give Nu Skin the credit. What the concept of network marketing is, it's about a lot of people sharing products and a business opportunity with a few people and doing it well, and then teaching other people to do the same. It's not about going out and getting hundreds of retail customers like you'd have in a department store, for example. And when you talk about competing with department stores, network marketing, the concept is we are the advertising budget. And because these industries that we are functioning in are very vulnerable, they have huge markups because they go from wholesale to retail, but in between, the products have to go through a lot of different hands, so there's a markup each time. Everyone in our company is direct to the company, so the product gets marked up once, and the retail customer ends up with a superior product for actually about 20 to 30% less.
But for the claims of how many people, as I said before, for all of the money that your company says it will make this year, to just divide it by the number of people that are selling, we're talking about $400 a month before we take out rent, telephone, inventory, advertising, travel, meals. By time all of that happens, I'm afraid that if some people figured out what they were earning, it would be in pennies per hour.
Well, out of 100,000 distributors, some of those people's goals are just to buy the products at wholesale. Some of those people's goals are to sell products to their friends. We only have 7,700 executives in Nu Skin, which means people whose goals are more serious, who are going through the marketing plan, and who are making careers out of it. I think you have to look at something like the golf industry, and if you take the winnings of the pros in the golf industry and divide it among the number of golfers in the world, the proceeds aren't going to be that great.
No, except you thought I didn't do my homework. The money doesn't get divided amongst all the golfers in the world. It only gets divided among those that come out on top, which is perhaps your 7,700 executives or some percentage thereof, just like any other business, right? Okay. I mean, after all, yeah, I'm going to take a break. Anybody know what the biggest pyramid marketing scheme in the country is? The Social Security Administration, and it's perfectly legal, and we'll be right back. You must be comfortable up there just sitting, but never mind. Please meet Victoria Garcia. Victoria is a consultant to people starting small businesses. And I get the sense sometimes, listening to people who are choosing multi-level marketing as their career, that they miss some of the realities of what it means to start a small business, which is what it really is.
Well, what these people are doing is not starting a small business. I think they have to realize that that's a different enterprise. Starting a small business means a certain level of investment, but it also means independence, which I'm not sure that if you're involved with multi-level marketing, you have as much total independence as you have if you start your own business. The second thing I see...
Why is, Victoria, why is that? Why is that?
You have to be part of the chain here to make it work. When you own your own business, you're not as linked up with other business owners in a dependent kind of relationship. You're not dependent on anyone when you own your own business. You have suppliers to choose from. You have vendors to choose from. The second thing is, when you own your own business, you're in it for the long term. You're in it to build equity into something that has inherent value. This is why people sell their businesses after a number of years or go into partnership. When you're in this sort of scheme, this is a question of, we're strictly talking about realistic expectations. I'm not trying to make a judgment on it. I am saying you have to have realistic expectations. You are in partnership, in effect, with other people that control your destiny. If the relationship with the company changes, you go with it. If the reputation of that company that you're involved with or that product goes down the tubes, all of your efforts go with it. You do not have, you are much more in control when you own your own business. It's not without, it is not without risk. I'm not saying it's without risk when you own your own business, but it is not, you're not linked up with other people who control your destiny to this degree.
Go ahead. Tell us your name.
My name is Sherry Hull, and I'm an executive with Newscan. And I'd like to mention that I believe that the network marketing industry is very similar to the small business industry in relationship to franchises. We are very similar to the franchise industry. If you have a McDonald's franchise, you are linked to a single supplier. That does not mean that you don't have your own business. It doesn't mean that you don't operate your business in very much the way you choose to. But at the same time, it does mean that you are linked to one single supplier and you don't have those choices. Would you say that someone in the franchise business is not a small business owner?
No, I wouldn't say that. And I also agree that it's more analogous to that. But you also get a great deal more from a franchise than you get from this kind of relationship.
I think that depends on the company that you're with. I think that depends on the company that you're with.
But you'll have to admit, though, that she's quite right, that if you choose the wrong company, that you don't have the freedom to move that you might otherwise. In other words, if you have a secretarial service or repair cars and one of your distributors goes down the drain, you can choose another distributor. You can look for other customers. If you happen to be affiliated with a company that doesn't do well, you're kind of stuck.
Yes, I agree with that, but that's also true with a franchise. I mean, there are a tremendous number of franchises that go out of business every year. We're not talking...
Which is why it costs so much to go with McDonald's.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely. Your risk is much lower when you go with a well-established company.
Let me go up to Al Sheldon. Thank you very much for just a second. Part of the puzzle here is the question of numbers. I read about a company that went out of business 8 or 9 years ago that said, you know, you can make $1 million a month. To do that, however, you would have had to sign up 29,875 people in the month, which is difficult to do. Can you explain to us the issue, which is part of the California state law, but some of the practical business side of selling product versus recruiting, and where those two cross over?
Well, legally, and the law is based on the reality, and that is that for everyone who gets into one of these multi-level marketing companies to make money, one of two things has to happen. Either everyone has to sell product, and if that happens, and the sale of product is to a retail customer who, in your example from before, is buying the cosmetics because they want to use the product, so that you are building a customer base that is going to continue to buy product time and again, then you can have 48 levels for California law. It doesn't matter, because the money that people are making is based upon an actual retail sale of that product. If, on the other hand, what you have is product that's moving from one level in the chain to another level in the chain to another level in the chain, and there are requirements that everybody on various levels of the chain buy product each month, whether or not retail sales occur, then the only way you're going to make money is by continually getting in more people. I think one of the statistics I read was that if you have a chain that requires you only to bring in 5 people, and each of those people to bring in 5 people for you to keep moving up, after 18 repetitions of this chain, you will have used up all of the people in the country, and after 23, you will have used up all of the people in the world. And the legal problem is that the person who is solicited to become a distributor for these companies 2 years after the company is going is told you have the same chance of making lots of money as the person who got in 2 years earlier, and that's usually not the case.
Okay. Sir?
My name is Charles Perkins. I'm from Carlsbad, California, representing the MLMIA here today.
Tell us what that is.
The Multi-Level Marketing International Association. I've been in network marketing for close to 20 years now. I've been a consultant to the industry for the past 10. And I appreciate your comments, Mr. Sheldon. You're exactly right. The thing we have to remember that not all programs are created equal. All programs aren't viable and sound. In a true viable program, your income is not dependent. You do not derive any income simply on the recruiting aspect. Only when real retail sales are made. And as far as the effect that the recruiting has is simply multiplying your base of retailers. So that's the first thing that has to be looked at is the viability of the product. Do you have a marketable, a retailable product? And excuse me, many times, a lot of companies, after 19 years, I've seen it all. I've been with the good and I've been with the bad. And unfortunately, a lot of times, companies are offering products that people would not purchase if it were not for the opportunity to earn money. Only when you have products that people will purchase, regardless of their opportunity to earn money, do you have a legitimate, the basis for a legitimate program.
You know, in looking at a lot of the videotapes, the recruiting tapes, from the companies, Mary Kay uses the pink Cadillac. They're always expensive foreign cars. It is the lure of that dream, and admittedly we all have it. I guess part of the problem I have, being primarily an ordinary person, is the sense that ordinary people like me can do it. If I was a Ray Kroc who looked at a hamburger stand and said, you know, we could do something with this, you know, I probably would have done it. And everybody I know that has done that has been an extraordinary person. And I'm wondering if there's not a little oversell, like the real estate courses in TV. If buying with no money down was so easy that Ed Smith, who up until today was a postal carrier in Chicago, could do it, there'd be lots of Ed Smiths doing it. When you get right down to it, how many people can make the kind of money that the companies suggest?
Probably about the same percentage that succeed in any enterprise, in any industry in the world, and that's about 5%.
Wait, you know, you're applauding, but what he's saying is that of this audience of maybe 400 people, there's only like 20 of you that are going to make it. Okay? And how many of you are sure that you're one of the 20? That's what makes America work. Quickly, go ahead.
Exactly right. On any job that you've ever had, people come and go. Not everybody makes it, and all we're offering here is an opportunity through network marketing. It's just that simple. It's up to everybody. Now, one of the biggest problems, and you were using the word yourself, easy. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. And if somebody's telling you that you get involved in their network marketing program and it's easy, and like this gentleman on the TV a while ago that was doing the meeting saying you don't have to do anything, that's totally misrepresenting the situation.
If nothing else, you've got to be able to sell.
That's exactly, well, you've got to be able to believe in your product and enthusiastically recommend that to your friends.
We're going to be back in a minute. We'll talk... I'm only one vote, but I vote you the most energetic audience in 4 years, and we'll be right back. Dare I ask in this audience, is there anybody here who's been involved with a multi-level marketing company where all the dreams didn't come true, where things were not quite as they seemed to be? Hi, let me turn you right over to this camera.
My name is Carolyn. I was with the NSA, National Safety Associates, and we were selling water filters. And I put in $5,000 and I have not seen a penny back.
Okay. Can I tell your story? Because I did. Let's do your story. Gene, if you'd be kind enough to roll the tape. This is a young woman who wishes she had had a better look at the fine print in the contract.
Many people spend years on the job in an endless quest for the American dream. But one San Diegan thought she found an easier way.
If you're working 5 jobs and I come up to you and tell you, hey, you don't need to work 5 jobs, I'll give you something to do and you'll make twice as much money and you don't have to work that hard. Wouldn't you fall for it?
Carolyn Giorgi was working 3 jobs when she met Freddie Rick, a distributor for National Safety Associates, a manufacturer of water and air purifiers.
He just told me basically, put in this much money, I'll work with you, quit your jobs, okay? And if this product does not move in 3 months, I'll buy the product back. I'll give you $5,000 back, no big deal.
But when Carolyn couldn't sell the product, she was told to look at the contract. Simply put, NSA was not required to refund her money.
If I had read the contract, I wouldn't have gone in with over $5,000.
Carolyn feels cheated, and she's not alone. According to psychiatrist Dory Winchell, financial independence is a strong lure.
to be your own boss, to be able to make your own hours, to be able to make your own rules. And people see that as very desirable, and they don't see the other side of it.
The other side is that many who are attracted by Be Your Own Boss ads lack basic business instinct and income.
Everything was just happening so fast. I can't say that it's their fault because they didn't read it to me, or it's my fault. I was stupid. I'm stupid not to read the contract.
I think it's really important to know yourself so that you don't set yourself up, so you don't set your family up.
Sometimes MLM companies sound like they're too good an opportunity to pass up.
We're dedicated to becoming truly the IBM of preventive medicine and nutrition through an entirely all-science, all-fact approach, no fad involved.
United Sciences of America, or USA, sold nutritional supplements and distributorships with the endorsement of blue-chip athletes.
I think they're a great company. I think they have a lot of class.
With testimonials from famous athletes like Chris Everett, Gary Carter, Joe Montana, and Steve Garvey, USA took off in January of 1986. 7 months later, over 140,000 people had signed up as distributors. But a funny thing happened on the way to the bank. In 1986, the Food and Drug Administration challenged USA's health claims. Within weeks, the company filed bankruptcy, and attorneys general in 3 states filed lawsuits against them. USA didn't have the secret for success, but other MLM companies claim there's no mystery at all.
If you choose, or a person chooses, to become a distributor, the deal is that our products don't have feet, and you do have to work, and you do have to put the product out.
Valerie Malusi is a national marketing director for NSA, the company we talked with Carolyn about earlier. We asked her why someone in Carolyn's situation couldn't get her money back.
Because there's no required buy-in. Because there's no required buy-in, there's no buy-back. Because nobody has to buy any product.
But Malusi did agree to help Carolyn Giorgi sell her stockpile.
Well, cut and dry, I'd ask her to please come in and sit down and talk with me and get a game plan together, and I'll train her and do my best to help get her product moved.
We're back. Carolyn and Valerie has joined us. Let me ask Carolyn first. Not reading the contract or not having what it takes to sell and to organize and to self-start, what is it that didn't work for you?
Not reading the contract and being rushed into the whole deal, basically.
And Valerie, you're going to make a deal.
Well, what I've offered to Carolyn is to please come into our facility. We do have a 10,000 square foot facility with a 2,000 square foot training room. I've got training every morning in the office at 9 o'clock. I've got them on Saturdays as well, and I've agreed to help Carolyn and work with her and help her move her product.
I'd like to say something. First of all, the gentleman who got me in the program was Freddie Rick, and when I started the program, I was working for the Sheraton Hotel, and I had this big deal going down. I was going to have Freddie come down there, show them the product, help him represent the whole thing, and he went out of town and told me to go to Valerie, and Valerie would help me. Ever since then, I have never seen Valerie. I'm just saying here today. Honest. They didn't show up. Nobody helped me. I wasn't trained. I wasn't helped. And Freddie said, we'll be with you all the way. We'll help you sell this product. Quit your jobs. I was working 3 jobs. Quit your jobs. You know, we'll be with you. I'm coming in. And I have $5,000 in the bank. He's telling me, go back to your bank and get $10,000. If I put $10,000 in there, I'd be dead by this time.
Well, Valerie's now agreed to help. And what?
That's not what I want. They should not have misrepresented their company to me.
And they're saying, of course, you should have read the contract. And all I can say now, all I can say now is she's agreeing to do something, and we're going to make sure that she does. But that's really as far as we can go, Carolyn.
They say their product is very good, okay? And they told me if I don't sell that product in 3 months, they'll buy it back. Why don't? It's been a year. I'm telling you, it's been a whole year.
I appreciate it, but you're going to tell me you didn't say that, right?
Marty, I've never met her. We have offices. If she
is this a case maybe of a distributor?
Yes.
We can't solve it, but she's agreed to do something, and we'll see that she does. That's all we can do for now. I thank you both. Mr. Babner, how often does this, let's exclude the specifics here. You told us prior to the program while we were talking that maybe 85 to 90% of these companies, not specifically the ones represented here, but the new ones that are constantly coming online, are going to fail.
Well, what I told you, Marty, was that the failure rate was not particularly different than any other new business.
But we agreed that that was 80 to 90%.
Yeah. This particular instance was not a failure of a company, but it's not a company that I could come to the defense of either.
But tell me, what do you tell people in terms of advice for those people that are watching at home that are enjoying the enthusiasm most of the audience are having for these companies? How on earth do you assess what the future might or might not hold?
Well, I would tell anyone, if the pitch that comes at the individual is buy $5,000 worth of product, don't worry, stick it in your basement and get someone else to do the same. You've got a problem company. And I would suggest they call the Attorney General's office, call Al. But if you're being pitched and your inventory loaded, you have a problem company, you should run as fast as you can.
Okay, let's go to the telephone. Go ahead, you're on the air. Are you there?
Yeah, is it me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, part of the lure with NSA for me was the training, not the free training that this lady is talking about in the office, but this is through Advanced Marketing, who has set up 90 offices coast to coast with, you know, people paying $500 a month for a desk to work in full-time and run ads constantly to recruit people in, but that too is only part of it. They have regional training that goes on every single weekend that people pay $300 for the weekend, and there's usually about 500 people at each training, so that's like, what, $150,000 at each one of these training sessions that this man who, you know...
Excuse me, but what was it that happened to you?
Well, you know, I went to several of the trainings. I came in direct. I've been in for about 3 or 4 months. I'm now in the hole about between $10,000 and $15,000. My sponsor's in the hole $30,000. And, you know, they say that, you know, if you're not doing well, you need to go to another training. You need to spend another $300 for another training. And on the training paper, the testimony, the people are making good money, but those are the people that are making, you know, splitting up that $300,000 every weekend, and that's their income, and not off of, you know, selling water filters for NSA and the marketing plan.
Let me let Valerie respond real quick. We're getting, as I was afraid we might get caught in the middle of trying to, well...
I just wanted to respond to you that Advanced Marketing, once again, that's a distributor, all right? NSA spends over $300,000 a month as a company to provide free trainings all around the country. Every single Saturday, we're in 7 or 8 cities for free trainings. At our offices in Mission Valley, our trainings are free. We have trainings every morning in the office. I would encourage you to come down to the office, get trained, and get your product moved. The product doesn't have feet, so you do have to work. All right? But there's no reason for you to spend the amount of money you're spending on training.
Okay, we're gonna take a break, and then we will move through I'll be right over to see you, sir. We have to sell something too, you understand? We are back live. We are in Spring Valley. I have to say, and maybe Mr. Sheldon, you would comment, or Victoria, or Professor Kalb, when you're in this kind of infectious, isn't it? I mean, these people project this sense that they are on the path, you know. And I'm telling you, I mean, I'm kind of going, boy, what am I missing? Although I've also done the numbers. And the numbers get a little squeaky at times if you're starting with 100,000. I mean, I can't enlist the whole community. And I'm not sure about selling, but I mean, what are some of the watch-outs?
I think some of the watch-outs Jeff mentioned before, that is, if there's a large amount of money that you have to spend to get into the company, if you're given a large amount of product to start with, that's something that you want to do a whole lot of serious thinking about. You want to make sure that money that's going to be earned is really based on actual retail sales of the product, that the company has some kind of retail sale verification program, that you're not going to make money simply because you've introduced Joe, who might introduce Sam, who might introduce Betty, who might introduce 14 other people. Those companies tend not to be around a long time, and those companies tend to end up costing people more money than it makes for them.
Does California have a provision for buying back inventory?
There is not a specific provision in the law. It's one of the things that we look at, however, when we look at a company's program.
Yeah, one of the Mary Kay people I talked to that was angry about the letter said
that she's got a garage full, and though the company doesn't want them to do it, she's going to have a garage sale because they won't at some point take it because of shelf life and a price. So she said, I'm just going to have a garage sale because I can't move $3,000 worth of merchandise. So there's no provision specifically that some people may get stuck with merchandise.
No question. We unfortunately, more often than we would like, we hear complaints from people who have garage fulls of items.
Okay, let me work down. Victoria, go ahead.
Well, I have a couple of watch outs. We've been talking up here about how a lot of people really are in it casually and want to make just a few $100s a month, and I don't think anybody has any qualms with that or any question about that. I think it's when your expectations are unrealistic. When you think you're going to make your fortune here, it's going to take you through the rest of your life, you're going to be just great, and you don't have to read the fine print, you don't have to ask any questions because you're being told this by your friends and you're insulated. I think that's one of the dangerous things. I think the second thing is, and maybe this audience can answer this, many people have had the experience of being pulled into a product presentation without being fully informed that that's what they're getting into. A sort of manipulative sales approach, which makes everybody a little queasy. Your friend asks you over to dinner, you go over there, you're now sitting there with 10 people, and you get this big hard sales pitch to buy product. That creates a situation where everybody is suspicious of multi-level marketing. It's not out front. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know why that happens, if that's what they're being trained to do, but that's a watch out for me. If you're not hearing things up front, what's going on?
Yeah, every time I'm about to be pitched, I make sure that we at least go to a good restaurant. Let me go to the telephone. Go ahead.
Good evening, Marty.
Hi. Thanks for joining us. You're on. Go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'd like to address my question to Mr. Sheldon. In another news program, it was brought to light that the Nu Skin company was being investigated by another state's attorney general because their training films basically just showed the potential once you recruited other salespeople, and it was brought to light in other states that it's a pyramid scheme. And I was wondering if Mr. Sheldon and the Attorney General's office in California has investigated Nu Skin, and if they'll be proceeding with any sort of case.
I'll give you two answers. One is that the state of Michigan has issued to Nu Skin a notice of intent to sue. That's probably the story you're referring to having seen. They're now in discussions with the Michigan Attorney General's office. In California, we tend, because we don't have a similar requirement to give an advance notice of intent to sue, we generally don't comment on companies that are under investigation for two reasons. One is we don't want a company to be tainted as bad simply because we're looking at them. Likewise, if we decide to close out an investigation, we don't want that company to be able to say, we've been looked at and we've been cleared. I will say that we have had a number of inquiries about Nu Skin, and we're trying to get answers to those inquiries.
Mr. Sheldon, what companies have you moved against in the past? I mean, USA, that was featured in the tape, is one of them that you did. Are there some others?
There are some others. We have gone against and sued, and there was a resolution about a year ago against Advanced Marketing, which was the distributor for NSA that's been mentioned here earlier. They have changed their marketing practices in the last year or so because of that. We have been involved with a number of other companies, often diet companies. We've brought in the past an action against Herbalife that also resulted in claim changes for them, both in claims that they were making for the products and the marketing program.
I told you before the program, you closed down USA a number of years ago.
Yes.
That there's a fellow in Carlton, Texas now that's using the same 1986 packet and at it again. So it may be that they cross your desk again. Professor Kalb, what are some other watch-outs?
Well, I think one of the main watch-outs is that you have to realize that to make money and be successful, it's a lot of hard work. And and as long as the people in the audience and the other people involved in this network marketing understand that and don't think that they're going to make lots of money with little effort, I think that there may be an opportunity for them.
Okay, we've got somebody else on the phone. I'll work my way back. Go ahead, you're on the phone.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'm a real estate broker, and I've been involved in multi-level marketing. I think one of the things that you must look at, like you were mentioning a little earlier, that, you might walk down the street and find out how many people are involved in multi-level marketing. If you want to walk down your street and find out how many people are involved in real estate or insurance, there are hundreds of them, okay? And it's quite easily known that approximately 20% of the people make 80% of the money. But that's up to their own endeavors. One other thing to realize, let's take a company. I'm not a new skin distributor, but let's take SD Lauder. They're doing $2.5 billion next year. There's one individual in that company that makes $1 million or more, and that's the CEO. New Skin is going to do about $600 million, and there are 25 people that are going to do $1 million or more a year. Now, somebody's doing something right here. Somebody's doing something right here. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this, if I'm going to think about going to work for SD Lauder or associate with New Skin, I'm going to have to consider New Skin.
Yeah, but many of these large companies that you refer to that are retailers are also paying dividends to stockholders and doing a variety of things. The question that you have to ask if you're going to work for New Skin or any company, I'm just choosing the name because you did, is that if there are, what number did he use? 25? What
25.
about 25? What about the other 995,075 people? What are your chances of getting from here to there, regardless of the company?
What are your chances of getting
of owning Estee Lauder? They're
CEO?
Zip. No, they're Zip. They're absolutely Zip. There's no question about that. I'm not going to be a CEO. Will you stand by for a second? I got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back live. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I've been in a few multi-level companies, and I never made any money myself in any of them, but I can only blame myself just because if I were to go in any other company, any other type of business and not make it, that's my fault. As far as this lady's comment about if you think you're going to make a lot of money, if you don't think you're going to make any money, then you may as well not go into business.
Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a quick question. What was it that why didn't you make money?
I just didn't associate with the product very well. I mean, I liked the product. I was selling Shackley. I tried a couple other things I don't even remember. I still use the product and have for 10 years because I think they're great products, but I just couldn't sell that sort of thing. I can sell real estate, mobile homes, I do that sort of stuff, and mortgages, I do that well, and I make good money at that, so I stick to that. Now they have multi-level in mortgages.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. They have multi-level. I mean, the Amway folks sold MCI phone signups for a long time. I guess the question is whether people get, as you did, involved in it when it is the wrong thing for you. I mean, somebody or something convinced you that you could sell Shackley.
Sure, but the only way you're going to find out if you're going to succeed or be good at something is to try it anyway. But there were two things I did want to point out is that basically the only difference between a multi-level company and any other is, one, the way you're paid. You're paid on managing other people. You are a manager if you expect to make big bucks.
Okay, and what else, quickly?
The other thing is that their strong and weak point is that they will take anybody. So when they take somebody who's not so high class or whatever, you're going to get some unprofessional comments, you're going to get promises that can't be kept, made, some things like that.
And people that don't sell well.
Right. And also you get misconceptions about the company, the parent company itself, that are misrepresented. But the main strong point, that's also their main strong point, is that they'll take anybody. I've never seen so many women making so much money in regular standard businesses that they're talking about, or so many minorities. You will not find as many in the higher levels in standard businesses as you will in multi-level companies, because they'll let anybody go up.
Okay, thanks. Who's going to tell us your story? Let me turn you to this camera right over here.
Well, I was in New Skin. I signed up in January. I was in it for about 6 months. And one of the things that happened to me is I didn't realize how many other folks were in the business. And I've been in corporate America for about 20 years. And I enjoy working for smaller companies. I've been involved with 2 startups and larger companies. And like I said, I enjoy the smaller businesses. New Skin's a good company. I don't have anything bad to say about them. It's just that for what I wanted to do, I wasn't able to do it for the amount of effort that I had to put.
Why couldn't you sell the product?
Oh, it wasn't that I couldn't sell it. It's that I was only doing this part-time. And you really need, what you need to do, it's like any business, and unfortunately people that get into network marketing, they're doing it, they're trying to go into their own business, and normally they wouldn't try any other type of business because it's just too much work.
Did you know how many distributors were in your area or your neighborhood or the area that you were going to work? I mean, the reference I made, say, to Scripps Ranch earlier in the program. Did New Skin provide you with a list of all the people in your area that might be competing with you? I mean, if I was going to open a radio station, I'd know how many there were in town.
No, but I didn't ask. And that's one of the important things. That's what I was leading up to that. It's up to the individual distributor, the person who's going to sign up, to actually write a business plan, find out where he wants to go, and find out whether or not that marketing plan can support the effort, the resources he's willing to bring to bear to achieve his goals.
Now, were you in this together?
Yeah, actually, Rich brought me into it. Rich.
Did this end up costing you guys money?
A little bit.
Learn anything?
I learned a lot.
What'd you learn?
Went to school on network marketing, and I learned it's a great business. There's a lot of potential. But it's we keep coming back to this, but it's not unlike the rest of corporate America. That if you get involved with a company that's fairly large, your own personal growth is going to be somewhat slower than if you get involved with a company that's a little smaller on a very aggressive growth path.
Somebody, yeah, very quickly, please, sir.
Another good thing about network marketing, it offers an opportunity to a lot of other people who normally don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the education, the background, and experience to really make it successfully in a business on their own. And network marketing, if you align yourself with a good company, such as New Skin and some of the other ones that have made it, they can be very successful at it, and they just have to work hard to get there.
Can somebody, we had some executives from New Skin. Does New Skin provide you with I wonder if I can go through here without stepping on anybody's toes. Probably not, I'll go around. The question is, would New Skin provide you, and do they, as a part of signing up, provide you with a list of your competition? Because needless to say, you want to go into a neighborhood where you're going to be alone, or with two people. You don't want to sell against 10 or 15 or 20.
Well, you can get that information if you feel that you need it.
Is that a nice way of saying no, they just don't provide it typically?
Well, why would they provide that? That's something that you'd call the marketing department for and get that information.
But if I wanted to sign up and I wanted to become a distributor and I called them and said, I want to know everybody that's selling the product in my part of University City, they'd tell me?
Yes.
Would they charge me for the information?
No.
So you can find out? Yes, you can. Okay. Let me see here. Let's go here. Go ahead.
Well, I think one thing that needs to be brought up is that, oh, by the way, I'm Cindy Crispin. I'm a New Skin distributor executive also. But one thing that needs to be brought up is that I think all of us that are in New Skin don't feel that we are truly in competition. We're in this business together to build a business, and that I may have a customer, and if I'm out of town, if Louise can help me fulfill an order for that customer, then we're working together to take care of a customer.
This is sort of an old statement. Somebody that's on commission sales cannot be overpaid, because no matter what you pay them, they've sold that much more for the company. But at some point, you've got to sell more than she does, or sell more than he does, or it's really coming out of your pocket. Somewhere down the line, you've got to be driven yourself to move that product.
Okay, but again, yes, you're true. That's true. But again, if she helps me out in a situation, I'm going to help her out in the next one. And you wash each other's back. I mean, what goes around comes around. And if you're out in a business where you're backstabbing, I came from corporate. I mean, you know, you don't turn around because you're going to get kicked. So that's one thing that I've found that's been so great about this business, is that I can turn around and meet a new friend.
But if you guys are all together, then the only people making money are the 25 executives we heard of before.
No.
75.
I'm making
7,700.
I'm making money. I was able to leave corporate America, so who's to say who's not making money?
Yeah, it depends on how much money it is that you need. I'm getting two messages at once here. Go ahead.
Let me add one thing. My name is Mark Anderson, and I've been in corporate America for 5.5 years. I left corporate America because my salary was froze. They took away my commission structure and readjusted my bonus program. I left 13 months ago, got involved with New Skin, and based on my hard work and persistence, I have exceeded the income stream that it took me 5.5 years to get to with corporate America. So that just tells you right there, if you work hard, you can do it.
It's very interesting, and I don't know if it's typical of New Skin or whether it is typical of people that are involved in this industry, the big generic industry. There's this disdain for corporate America. This woman here said it, and I've heard it from some friends of mine that sell New Skin, some friends of mine that sell Amway. There's this, I got out of corporate America, and look where I am now.
Let me explain that to you. I work 50 to 70 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year, and to get my salary froze and to have my commission structure taken away, that doesn't happen to me anymore. I'm controlling my future, and I'm not working 50 to 70 hours a week anymore. I'm working considerably less than that and making more income. So what does that tell you? I think I have the right vehicle.
Okay, we've got to take a break. We'll be right back. Selling cosmetics and creams and lotions and a variety of things. Have you had an opportunity to look at any of the products and look at the formulation of any of the products?
Sure, I have. I'm very interested in these things, and I try and examine closely the exact product list to see what is in the things that my patients come to me and ask me if these products are worth using.
Mm-hmm. And what do you find out when you look?
Some of the claims are a little bit overblown. They contain ingredients that shouldn't have any medical relevance, and I don't think do. But for the most part, the companies take great pains, the companies that make cosmetics in this country, under some restrictions, to provide safe products, and I think they do. I think that it's hard for me as an outside observer with some knowledge to say one product is clearly heads above something else, but by and large, most of the products are safe.
We do have, as a culture, a real urge to spend lots of money on moisturizers and this, that, and the other, and I see the programs on television. Some are different, most are pretty much a similar formulation.
The basic formulas are very similar. I think some of the newer formulations tend to be more safety-oriented. They realize that people don't want the longest ingredient list or the most vitamins in their moisturizer. They really want something that will be safe to use.
But we need to be careful where we're looking at medical claims like the products. This is going to go in and actually change the cell structure of your skin and give it a youthful appearance.
Exactly.
They don't do that yet.
With very few exceptions, no.
Doctor, thank you very much. Appreciate it. If you don't want to participate in this, I'll understand. But I want to get, since we've got such a large group and you are so enthusiastic and most of you are involved in the industry, I want to get some idea, if I can, about income. So why don't you all stand up? And I'm going to assume, everybody stand up. I'm going to assume that the majority, everybody that makes six figures, everybody that makes $100,000 or more, sit down.
Marty, ask...
$75,000 a year, sit down.
Marty, ask if we're talking about net.
Yeah, we're talking about net. Network marketing, you made $50,000 net this year. 30. Sit down if we're getting down into here. 25,000.
30. He sat down at 30.
Okay. $1,000. How many of you are making $1,000 a month net? Less than that? The rest of you that are standing are less than that. But you think the potential is there. You think the potential is there. Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of
stand up.
Like, you know, a lot of people are in this for the reasons that they're into it. I mean, if you go into something and think you're going to make millions of dollars, you know, you may very well do that. Some of us go into it just because we want to supplement our income, and you know, I think that that's wonderful. I mean, that's a marvelous opportunity to make additional money when you're working a full-time job doing something else. And how can you fault that?
No, and I don't think anybody is, and I think even the panel members were saying, if really that's what you want to do, is make a few $100s and not go to a full-time job, and the expectations are not unrealistic, more power to you. No, you know, it is the American dream, and I don't know of any rules or regulations that say you can't live it, or I can't. And there are certain places where I don't have the courage to do it, but I mean, you certainly have the opportunity. I need to thank our panel, Al Sheldon from the Attorney General's Office, Victoria Garcia, a small business consultant, and Ira Kalb, a professor of marketing at USC and UCLA, and Jeff Babner, who is an attorney representing a number of multi-level marketing companies. You all agree it's not easy, but it can be done. But it is still a case of consumer beware, buyer beware?
Definitely.
Risky biz.
There have been a lot of companies, and it taints the multi-level marketing companies, like some of those represented here, because some of the others that are purely scams choose this approach of have a friend tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Well, listen, thank you all. We have time for a couple more questions. Let me run all the way over here. Okay.
Marty, while you're running...
I hardly call it running, Al.
That's all right. Go.
Stumbling along. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that one of the problems that we have is the way the programs are often sold to people is not that someone's going to be in it to supplement their income with a couple of $100s, but rather what happens is checks for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month supposed income get waived in front of the group. It becomes a revival meeting. One of the things that I would caution people to ask is ask the companies what the average distributor earns per month. You're not going to get that information from most companies.
Okay, go ahead.
I have not sold for any of these companies that have been represented, but I think that I've probably been approached by all of them. And speaking for those consumers that are an integral part of this whole scheme, we're not nearly as enthusiastic about being hit on as you are about hitting on us.
Where were you
Boy,
doing
there is nobody here that doesn't believe. Is there anybody here that doesn't believe? That's what I thought. There's a couple. You don't? You work for, she works for Al, so she does. It's not that you don't believe, but you're skeptical about it until proven in a court of law. Go ahead.
Did this personal care product line in 1984. Today, he is a multimillionaire. This year, Nu Skin will realize $500 million in revenue. That is, if this lucrative pyramid of wealth doesn't collapse. Nu Skin is being investigated for operating as an illegal pyramid scheme in 5 different states. California is not among them. 40% of the multi-level marketing distributors operate here, in part because loose regulations make California a haven for these companies. The California Attorney General Dan Lundgren should work with the legislature to implement tough regulations that will make it easier to prosecute pyramid-style scams. Upfront contracts which spell out average operating costs, percentages of sales commissions, and other vital information should be required. Tough regulations could help reduce fraud and help rid California of at least some of the con artists who seek their fortunes at the expense of unsuspecting citizens. I'm Neil Darrow. We'd like your opinion.